Wednesday 29th January 1862 began like any other. 40-year-old Jane Skirving, born Jane Monroe from Guernsey, lived with her husband of 22 years, Thomas, a chimney sweep, at 122 Rose Street in Edinburgh. They had spent much of that day in each other's company and had been drinking in the various pubs in the old town. In the afternoon, they had both been seen standing in the High Street, along with a cab driver called Alexander Auld, known as Sandy, who also lived in Rose Street. At this time, Skirving handed his wife 18 shillings, that being part of the money he'd received as payment for a quantity of soot. It later transpired that this was the cause of the fateful argument that ensued that evening. Early in the evening, they went home, accompanied by Auld, who left them to themselves when they reached their home. Neither of them were seen again until the following morning, after Jane had been murdered. Between 8 and 9 o'clock on the Wednesday evening, the noise of them shouting each other and the noise of heavy blows were heard by their neighbours and passers-by on the street. The door was locked from the inside, and the neighbours heard his repeated requests for money and him asking for the door key. At the same time, a feeble cry of "murder" and "police" was heard from the room where they were fighting. However, as they didn't live on the best of terms, and Jane was heard frequently shouting out for the police during their fights, little attention was paid to her cries. According to Anne Auld, the cab driver's wife, at 1 a.m, Skirving came to her door and asked if Auld was at home. She told him he wasn't, so asked Mrs. Auld to go and see his wife, who, he said, had turned cold and stiff. She then opened her door and said to him, "You scoundrel, if your wife is cold, you've murdered her." He replied, "No, God forbid that I should do that." Accordingly, she accompanied him to the house, where she found Mrs. Skirving lying on the bed, partly undressed and apparently lifeless, with clots of blood around her. The body was crouched and doubled up at the back of the bed, as though she'd been attacked while in bed, and had tried to defend herself against her assailant. Mrs. Auld noticed several violent marks on the body, and once again accused Skirving of murder. He denied this, stating she'd fallen down the stairs. Mrs. Auld told him she could see his wife's arms had been broken, to which he replied he'd given her a few whacks with a brush, as she wouldn't give him a shilling for a drink. Mrs. Auld by this time was frightened, so she returned to her own house to await her husband's return, telling no one of what had happened. Auld came home at 4 o'clock, having been away with his cab in the country, and after his wife told him what had happened, he decided to find out more from Skirving, then call the police if necessary. He told his wife to accompany him, and when they entered Skirving's home, he was sitting by the fire, while the body still lay where Mrs. Auld had seen it a few hours earlier. After being asked what had happened, Skirving replied she is done for now, and at the same time signalled his intention of hanging himself, although he told them he wouldn't carry out the act until he'd had a glass of whisky. To humour him, and in order to allow time for assistance, Auld said he would immediately go and get some spirits, at the same time asking Skirving not to hurt himself until he got back. Shortly afterwards, he did return, with a glass of whisky and a police officer. Skirving downed the whisky. When the circumstances had been established, the main police office was informed, and Dr. Littlejohn was called to examine the body, arriving around 6 o'clock, and found that the injuries sustained consisted of a fracture to both arms and a leg, along with a wound on the back of the head. He believed Jane had died a few hours earlier. 45-year-old Skirving, from Queensferry, was duly arrested and placed in police custody. He stood before Bailey Boyd and was charged with his wife's murder that Thursday morning, but pleaded not guilty. The police examined the scene and took with them as evidence a poker, a pair of tongs, 2 hammers and a chimney sweep's brush, all of which were believed to have been used by Skirving that night as he struck his wife. The police also collected several pieces of clothing that bore traces of her struggle, being torn and dotted with dried blood. Due to his mental state, a police officer stood guard outside Skirving's prison cell to stop him from harming himself. Skirving's trial took place at the High Court of Justiciary in Edinburgh on 16th March, before John Ingalls, Lord Glencorse, the Lord Justice Clerk, George Dease, Lord Dease, and Charles Bailey, Lord Jerviswood. The evidence given at the court was lengthy, with the murder weapon being cited as the poker. Both of them had been blind drunk at the time of the attack, with Jane being described as being much given to drink by Mrs. Auld. It was known she was very argumentative while under the influence of drink, both with her husband and her neighbours in Rose Street. Isabella Russell Scott told the court that she'd gone to the Skirvings around 8:30 that evening, having been asked by her mother to go get a sweep for the chimney. A man answered her knock, but he called through the door that he couldn't come out and that the mistress isn't in. However, she then heard a woman's voice saying, "Yes, she's in, and half killed." The woman tried the door, but the man held it shut. Thinking she had the wrong house, she left, but met a boy, Andrew Wilson, who confirmed it was the right door, so she returned. This time she heard several blows, and a man's voice saying, "You'll need another drubbing yet." She then came out onto the street and asked another boy if he'd seen a policeman, as the sweep and his wife were fighting. She then left. Numerous other witnesses appeared, including Mary Auld, the daughter of the cab driver, who'd been at the Skirving home the afternoon of the 29th, Dr. Archibald Ingalls, who accompanied Dr. Littlejohn, and Thomas and Mary Ann Cowie, who also lived at 122 Rose Street. The evidence against Skirving was overwhelming. Once the Lord Advocate had addressed the jury for the prosecution, and Mr. Watson for the defendant, the Lord Justice Clerk summed up and sent the jury out to deliberate. After just half an hour, they returned at 5:30. The verdict was guilty, but not of murder. It was the lesser charge of culpable homicide, and the jury had been unanimous in its finding. The Lord Justice Clerk told Skirving, "The jury have certainly taken a very merciful view of your case, and as a result, passed the only sentence he could: life imprisonment." If you enjoyed this episode of Scotland's History, please like, comment and subscribe. Until next time, Thank you for watching.